Okay. So due to the very unstable internet connection, I just decided to record this lesson and upload it on our Google Classroom for your lecture absorption, for your lecture, for our lecture, diba? So yan, allow me to proceed. So I believe the last part that I've mentioned is about the Armenian genocide, wherein within the Ottoman Empire, they're also in constant battle with their fellow. It's just that this fellow have a different religion to them. They have the same ethnicity, but they have a different religion. So the Armenians, most of their religion are Christianity, while the Ottomans or the Turks are Muslim. So, in this genocide that they did, a deliberate and systematic way of killing the Armenian, it actually caused so much tension in the country, so much tension in the empire, that actually added up to their growing problem. So, their problems were like, that nationalist revolt, somehow chaos within their own empire, and then the increase of European pressure. So they have enemy inside, which they view as the Armenian, and they also have enemy outside, which are viewed as the Britain, France, and Russia. So enemy in all sides and within. And another problem that they actually experience is their fight among the leaders, because some leaders wanted to stop that kind of totalitarian leadership, like a dictatorship kind of leadership, that they wanted to change to democracy, a much more lighter type of government. However, some government officials do not want to change to democracy. So as you see, there are like a series of many problems like surrounding the Ottoman Empire. Okay. So now, what happened is that after World War One and the competing promises after that, so there's this two agreement among those victors or the victorious countries of World War One. They have this agreement. So the first is the Hussein-Makman Correspondence, and then the Sykes-Picot Agreement. So let's talk about first the Makman-Hussein or Hussein-Makman Correspondence. So this is actually series of letters exchange between the two. So MacMahon and Hussein. So that those letters that were exchanged during World War One, in which the United Kingdom government agreed to recognize Arab independence after the war in exchange of the Sharif of Mecca launching the Arab revolt against the Ottoman Empire. So what the MacMahon Hussein correspondence did is that Britain somehow plea for a help um, among the Arab nation. So basically, with the group of Hussein, so they ask if they will help the British people to defeat the Ottoman. And if they will help the British people to defeat the Ottoman, they will be given a piece of land in that Middle East. So of course, the Arab people wanted that. They wanted to fight the war of the Britain because they know in the end they will get a piece of land. So that's what happened. However, in as time progresses, later I'll tell you, and also I hope you have seen the video, the small animated video. It mentioned in there that the McMahon Hussein correspondence was not actually fully implemented. Because what the British did is very sly. They lied, they fabricate, they give false promises that they promised this land and then they did not give. If they give, it's just really small than what is expected. So in short, they just keep on giving like false promises for the other group to fight in their cause. Another agreement that happened during that time is the Sykes-Picot Agreement. So Sykes is a British, somehow connected to Britain, and Picot is also French official. So they had this secret treaty. So again, secret again. Same with the Makman Hussein, a secret letter diba, that are somehow interchanged between Britain and the Arab government. So this as well. So United Kingdom and France somehow conspire that what they will do yan to have this sphere of influence within the Middle East. When you say sphere of influence, they're not really gonna conquer it by force, but rather they will just somehow spread their ideals. Like for example, it will start first with economics, and then the next thing that they will influence is the form of government. The next thing that they will influence is, let's say, it's religion. So it's not actually a direct attack on people or the land, but rather an attack on their identity, an attack on that aspect, di ba? So, take a look at this map and it will give you an idea what the Pico. Actually, it's Pico kasi it's French eh. So, silent T. Yan. So, what the Sykes-Picot agreement did is like, yan, take a look at this country like Russia, uh, France, Italy, and Britain. So they have their certain color in their arsenal or in their country. So the moment it is super dark orange, it's called direct control. So Russia had a direct control in this land of the Ottoman, while the French people had a direct control in this land, and then only influence in this land. So again, as I've mentioned, influence is more of a lighter control in a form of economics, could also be language, could also be religion, could also be leadership, political system, things like that. Okay, so lighter. And then when you see this dark color yellow, yan, direct British control. So there are like direct British officials governing in there. Meanwhile, the lighter yellow is like influence only. Okay, so strong British influence. And then this part of Israel, international control. So meaning none of these four can control that. Okay, it was actually before promised to USA and other countries. That's why they put it international, because somehow anyone could actually be in here. Okay, that's as you see, there's a small patch of land in there directly controlled by Britain. Okay, and then this dark green right here, direct control of Italy, this part of Turkey, and then only influence in this part. Okay. So that's what Sykes-Picot agreement look like, that they will divide to themselves the Ottoman Empire. Another agreement or declaration that happened during this time is the promising of the Palestinian Arabs independence if they will help beat the Turks in World War One. However, there's also another promise of that land to the Jews to be their homeland. So basically, take a look at this Balfour Agreement. So in the Balfour Agreement, the British people speak with the Palestinian and said, help us fight World War One, defeat Ottoman, and we'll give you this land, the land of Israel, Jerusalem. It will be yours. Okay, so of course the Palestinian fought with Britain, and then they helped Britain defeat Ottoman, and then in the end they're like expecting, oh, where's our land? However, the thing with the Balfour Agreement, they also contacted some groups of Jewish people and promise the same land. So it is very sly. Parang it's very manipulative move of the British people to actually promise one land to two entities, to two individuals, right? To two group of people. So that became a big problem. Up until now, it's not being solved. That's why Palestine is constantly at war with Israel. Kasi Israel is that land now. That promised land or that homeland is now currently Israel. And some said the Rothschild are actually Jewish family with so much money, so much money. I dare you nga eh, try to watch this documentary. I think it is on YouTube. Try to search lang Rothschild Dynasty or Rothschild's Wealth. Yun. And then you will see there that they are one of the most well, or the wealthiest rather. They are the wealthiest family, one of the wealthiest family in the world, the Rothschild. So what happened in there is like some said that the leader of the Rothschild family talked to the British official and said, because it's important in the Jewish faith to go back to Israel kasi that's their promised land, eh. So somehow they wanted that land to be occupied by Jewish and not Muslim kasi the Palestinians are Muslims, eh. Okay, so basically they have these two different religion wanting on that same land kasi that land is important to Muslim and important to Jewish as well. So yun. So basically, there's that fight over that land. But to cut the story short, what happened is that that land was now to the possession of the Jewish people. That's why try to search Israel and you will see the flag of Israel, there's Star of David in there. Because they're really emphasizing that they are a Jewish nation. Jewish nation. So now, once in a while, there's this missile being launched. The Palestinian will launch missile to Israel. Then Israel will launch war to the Palestinian. It's a never-ending war up until now. Na it started by the British promising false promises, and then up until now, it's these two nation suffering from that false promises that the British did. Diba? What a sly move. A very, very frustrating thing that the British did. So if you're actually gonna analyze this is their style in Middle East. It's very different and very unique than what they did to India. To India, they take India by force, right? At first, subtle approach, but after the Sepoy Rebellion, they take India by force. But in the Middle East, they take Middle East by ano ba, by words, by false promises of land, support, and sphere of influence. You know, it's like more of a subtle diplomatic ties and not a forceful overthrown. So, yan. So basically, the issues of colonization occurred all because they are different from one another. So the British people's religion is Christianity. And the problem in there is that the people that they're dealing with are not their same religion. So they're dealing with the Arabs who are Islam or Muslim. They also had a deal with the Jewish people, the Judaism. So and also different languages, and then also border concern. So the Europeans created nations without thought of ethnic makeup in the region. So the problem of colonization that happened in Middle East, they divide Middle East without actually knowing how sensitive their cultures are. It's very, very sensitive. It's because there are group of people whose religion matters to them greatly, greatly. Like the Muslim faith, they will not easily join forces with other religion in a snap like that. It takes time. But what the Europeans did, they just carve out, okay, this is your border, and then give it to them like as if they will just accept it. They did not accept what the Europeans marked for them. That's why there was this chaos that occurred in the Middle East, all because the Europeans have no idea how to divide it properly. And why divide it? Diba? It's not their land. It's not their land to divide, but they just somehow take a look at it as it's their purpose, it's their need to help or divide it in behalf of those people. So just really sad. Okay. And then this is best explained in the video, in the animated video that was actually posted. Like what happened to those countries after that division. So no need for me to specifically tell you one by one. You could just somehow watch that animated video, and it actually shows there what happened to those country after the division. So, yan, things like that. So, here in a final appearance, so if you see the red mark in this portion of the Middle East with the addition of Africa in this part. So, red mark is Britain. So, Britain. You see that part, British control. And then the green, France. So, they got Syria and then this part of Africa. And then Italy have a small portion in here as well, and then the Spanish here and here. And then independent are Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Turkey. They're able to get their independence with their ano din, with their somehow good relationship to the Britain. It ended a good relationship to the Britain kasi they are able to get their independence. However, there's just a thing that you need to understand that Iran and Egypt were not fully independent until much later in the indicated in than indicated in here. Both continued to have extensive external involvement in their economic and political affairs. So, though they became independent, it's more on the latter part. But still, to just have an idea of what happened in here, that's how it looks like. Okay. And of course, presently speaking, they are their own nation na. They are independent presently. Okay? But during this time of the 1930s, these are like who influences them. Parang sphere of influence. They were not directly conquered. It's like their economics closely rely on if it is red to Britain, if it is green to France. So imagine them like they became like slaves of those powerful nation. Imperialism and colonialism, it's just really sad part of history. Okay? So, yan, as I've mentioned, there's wrong spelling of Google. Google. Okay, I'll correct that later. But anyway, I want you to watch that animated video and then answer the posted question. So I want a well-composed sentences. Okay, don't make choppy sentences. When you say choppy sentences, like let's say Britons are bad. Britons colonize Middle East. Britain like this, like there's no thought. Like it's just like as if you're just mentioning certain sentence idea and then they're not interconnected to one another. Avoid making sentences like that. That's so elementary. Very elementary. Okay? So improve your writing. And lastly, it's all 20 points. So do it well, I'll give you 20 points. Okay, and there will be a quizzes tomorrow, and it covers the West and South Asia. So please be ready. Okay, so there would be no lecture tomorrow. Quiz is only. Okay. And one final remark, if you have any question about your grades, you want to know about your grades in Asian history, just message me and I'll give you your grade and at the same time tell you the things you need to improve. Okay? So that's that for today. And thank you. Bye-bye.